Suppose your sister, through bad judgment, got married to a scoundrel, and the marriage disintegrated for understandable reasons, and she, good Catholic that she is, got an annulment. In time, she met a wonderful man who also had a disastrous first marriage. His, however, was not annulled, and they decide to get married, and your issue is whether or not to attend the wedding. This is a little bit like Louisa following Will to Switzerland. You love your sister. Indeed, you love the man she's marrying, but you don't approve of their getting married because he's still married in the eyes of the church. And you're not actually helping them to do so. It'd be different if you were the best man or an official witness. That would be intentional cooperation. That's something that you can't do. In fact, this is this is not unlike the issue in the case called Masterpiece Cake Shop that the Supreme Court decided last year. You were asked in some other way to help with the ceremony or the celebration. In this case, Charlie Craig and David Mullins, who were a gay couple, asked the owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop, named Jack Phillips, to make a cake celebrating their marriage to one another. And Phillips said, I'd be happy to do that. I'd be happy to say anything else you want, but I can't make a cake for you because my faith frowns on same-sex marriage. And the Supreme Court held that the commission had shown a kind of anti-religious bias in deciding the case against the cake shop owner. Anyway, your issue is, should you go to your sister's marriage? If you don't, you know you'll hurt her and your parents maybe if you stay away. On the other hand, imagine you have young children of your own, and if you attend the wedding, you run the risk of signaling to your children that you approve of what their aunt is doing, and the church frowns on it. This is the problem that in moral theology we call scandal of the little ones. So what should you do? I like this example for a couple of reasons. One is it represents a fairly common moral dilemma of the sort faced by doctors, lawyers, priests, psychologists, social workers, how to respond to people in the messy circumstances of real life. People may be doing things that are objectively wrong, as your sister is in my hypothetical, but it's part of our jobs to help them as best we can. This is what Pope Francis is talking about, I think, when he urges priests to be shepherds with the smell of the sheep. The world outside the church is paying attention to his pontificate because he recognizes how difficult human situations can be, and he encourages us to adopt a disposition of mercy. So what does this mean for the case we've put? Do you attend your sister's wedding or not? Or to take another common dilemma about weddings, what about Mitch and Cam? In a world where well-meaning same-sex couples are all around us, the culture accepts what they're doing, and the legal system, like in Massachusetts and elsewhere in the United States, legitimizes their unions. How do we respond as Catholics? Should we take the Amish approach, if I call it that, and shun them to make clear that we disapprove of what they're doing? That won't help them on their way to conversion. On the other hand, should we celebrate what they're doing? That seems disingenuous if we honestly disapprove, as the church does. I have to say that very smart people of goodwill will disagree on this point. And this is actually my point about moral complexity. Pope Francis has been encouraging us in many such cases to err on the side of friendship. This has led to a lot of controversy in the church. Some of the faithful have accused Francis of intentionally obscuring traditional teaching. I think this is unfair to the Holy Father. He doesn't embrace the moral ambiguity that we see in liberal theory or in Gestalt psychology. He believes in objective good and evil. In fact, he believes in the devil, which the New York Times is always embarrassed to report. He has called abortion a horrendous crime. He said that gender ideology is demonic. What the Pope is focused on, rather, is the need for evangelization in situations of moral complexity.